Ever struggle with sounds that just feel flat and boring? Well, today I'm going to share with you a Reaktor plugin that turns lifeless sounds into pure audio gold. It doesn't matter what you feed this monster of a sound design plugin, it will take your sounds to places you never even knew existed. I'm going to show you exactly how it can transform bass, drums and pads into something truly extraordinary. And make sure you stick around for the really powerful automation features that this plugin brings to the table. You won't want to miss that because it really is mind-blowing. Trust me, this Reaktor plugin is an instant inspiration machine and there's nothing else out there quite like it. Let's dive straight in. Today we're looking at Native Instruments Molekular. It's one of the most powerful VST plugins on the planet. So we're going to kick things off with transforming some dull sounds. We've got bass, drums and a pad. And then I'm going to share with you the top 3 features that make this such a powerful sound design tool. Let's go. For the bass sound, we're going to be working with Thorn, and we're going to be using this sound. Very simple bass sound, not a reflection on what Thorn can do because it can do some fantastic stuff, but the whole idea here is that we showcase Molekular. What we're going to do is just play the naked Thorn sound on its own and then introduce Molekular. We're working with this preset, which is minority doorway chunks. I've got no idea what that means, but as you're just about to find out, it does sound pretty spectacular. That's totally transformed a really basic bass sound into something that's got a totally different vibe. It's got texture, it's got movement, it's got presence. It's been totally transformed. And that's just with a single instance of Molekular and no other effects. Next up, we're going to take a look at some drums and see how we can totally transform them using Molekular. For the drums, we're going to work with an old friend of mine, Clone Tonic, which is a fantastic drum synthesizer from the Reaktor user library. And this is what it sounds like on its own, just a very basic beat. And we're going to run it through Molekular and transform it just a little bit. So, sounds great. That's transformed the beat in quite subtly into something else, added a bit of glitch, a bit of randomization, a nice touch of distortion. So it's made it something different, but it's not hugely different. So for the next preset, what I want to do is take it in totally the other direction and absolutely transform this beat into something that I really doubt you're expecting. So let's do that. That is absolutely crazy. That's just a single instance of Molekular, and it's transformed a techno beat into an ambient, playful, melodic sequence. That is just amazing, I think. So let's see what we can do now to transform a flat pad into something exciting. And for the pad, we're going to be using Thorn again. Very basic pad sound and very basic progression, and it sounds like this. Let's now introduce Molekular and see exactly what kind of transformation we can make this time. So now you've got a good idea of what Molekular is capable of. Let's take a look at the top 3 features that make this such a great plugin. Reason number 1, unique effects units. One of the things that makes Molekular such a great plugin is the suite of unique effects modules that come bundled with the software. You get effects like these. Now these effects sound great in isolation, but the real fun starts when you start to chain and route them together. And that brings us very neatly to Reason 2. There's an absolute infinity of ways that you can route and chain your effects. So very clearly Molekular comes with a suite of top level effects and very unique ones at that. But what really makes this a premium plugin is the routing and the chaining options that you have for those effects. You can very quickly and very easily juggle the order and the position of each of the 4 effects, and what that does is open the doors wide open to all kinds of experimentation and sound design possibilities, and it's going to have a very profound effect on the sound that Molekular is generating. Let's take a look at how it works. So we're going to work with the same sound again. Nice bass sound from DS Thorn. We're going to run that through Molekular and we're going to play with the routing and chaining options. And that is taken care of in this section up here. The clue is in the name. So we've got 4 colored dots here, balls, dots, whatever you want to call them. And as you may guess, each ball relates to the corresponding color and module. And what's happening basically is the bass sound from DS Thorn will come into Molekular and it will be routed in serial like this. So it will go from number 1 to number 2, then to number 4, then to number 3 and out. And we're going to work with this preset again, which is the minority doorway chunks. And what I'll do in real time is just juggle the balls around and you can see what effect that has when we're in this mode, which is the serial mode. So let's switch Molekular on and just start playing. This is where the fun starts when you click the drop down menu and the center panel here changes to the routing options, and we've got 8 different options here. And when you combine that with all of the different effects that you have in each of the 4 modules, like I said a bit earlier, you know, the doors of infinity open wide in terms of the routing and chaining options. So this is the basic serial model, and you've got parallel model here as well, and varieties of both mixed together in kind of hybrid form. So I want to work with this one. And again, I'm just going to press play and we're just going to play with the order just so that you can see exactly the effect it's having on the sound. Reason 3. Massively deep modulation and automation options. Let's take a look at how Molekular handles modulation and automation, and believe me, it doesn't disappoint in this department either. Molekular deals with its automation and modulation up here, top left, and as you can see across the top here, there's 4 different options: LFO, step, envelope, and logic. Let's take a look at each of these and see what they do. For the LFO, there's 4 different wave shapes, and each one of those you can change the shape with this knob here. So all kinds of different shapes that you can use to modulate. You've got a sync to tempo and unsynced options here, and you control the speed of the LFO and the phase here. And this bit here, this is common for all 4 modulation sources. it's the modulation depth. Step sequencer, you have multiple options for direction of the step, and you've got a step sequencer here that you've got the editor to manually edit, up to 16 steps, and you've got this handy shift function here just to move the steps along, just to make things interesting. And again, you've got the slider. Looking at the envelope, we've got an attack function and release, and we've also got a gate in the middle here. And this is the gate functionality down here, up to 16 steps. Again, just slide to the length that you want, and you've got the step shifter again and the modulation depth slider. And that brings us finally to the logic. And the logic function allows you to combine modulation sources in all kinds of interesting ways. So you select the modulation source here, and essentially you multiply one against the other, and you've got a crossfade here, and you've got all kinds of different and totally new ways of modulating your sounds. So that covers the 4 different options that you have, so all kinds of ways of modulating your sounds. Let's take a quick look at just how we can use these 4 sources to hook them up to the effects modules. Assigning the 4 modulation sources couldn't be easier. Quite simply click on the Assign button, and as you see on the screen, any parameter that can be modulated, you have this little column here, and you simply click and drag to show the amount of positive or negative modulation that you want. Couldn't be simpler. And while you're in Assign Model, if you want to see exactly what is modifying that parameter, double click and the center panel reveals exactly what's going on. So here you can see LFO3 is modulating this parameter, the size of the reverb. And let's just check the pitch on the track OSC here. So again, a bit of modulation going on there. So let's add an LFO. Let's go for a sine wave. Let's change the shape a little so it's a bit more fun. Increase the rate and just leave it at that. And all we need to do, as we're in the LFO screen, that is the modulation source that we're adding, and you can see that being added there in real time. And when we activate the plugin, you should see here it's showing on the collar of each of the knob exactly what the modulation is. Let's deal with the elephant in the room very quickly, and that is the morphing screen here and the morphing functionality. We're not going to deal with that in this video because it warrants a video all of its own. It goes very deep, and that video will complement this video. So next time you're stuck with a boring sound, you know exactly what to do and where to come. And if you want more tools that can transform your sounds like this, hit subscribe. We've got a lot more to come. Now while you're here, why not watch one of these 2 videos that YouTube is very kindly recommending, and I'll see you in the next one.